Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to start a DIY Dollar Tree Farmhouse Easter egg series. Today we're going to start with jute eggs. Now we're going to use any plastic eggs you want, large, small, big, whatever, as long as they're shaped like eggs. Then we're going to need jute, and we're going to need lots of it. Actually, technically, I wrapped all three of these and didn't even break a sweat on this one. And then I'm decorating them with the beautiful lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to teach you a really fun braiding technique with cotton twine, also found at Dollar Tree in the hardware section, and then your gluing device as well as your cutting device, because you know we have to do the things. So I know you guys, we've done lots of wrapped things on our channel, so we have lots of tutorials out there. And again, there's like two schools. There are people who do like the haphazard wrapping, and then there are people who, like me, usually wrap everything in a row, just go completely butting up next to each other. So I wanted to tell you I found all the tricks with you guys today, okay, because I'm going to show you different methods on how to do it. So for me, as you know, I'm starting on the end. I add a little glue, and then I start twisting around the very tip. I put the tip in the glue. I let it set up, because you really have to let that set up, because if you start to twist it before it's set up, it will just move around on you. And then I'm gluing as I go. Now I will tell you the trick is when you're going from the end to the middle, it's a lot easier than going from the middle to the end. And here's why. The way that the egg is shaped, the string wants to go towards the tapered end. And if you've already glued that tapered end, it doesn't really have anywhere to go. But once you start getting towards the top, then you actually have to like push the jute against its natural its natural motion. It's natural motion to go towards the tapered end. So I did find it a lot easier to actually go from the end to the middle and then the end to the middle. And you really don't notice with jute the ends where they meet in the middle. But I'll show you here for this one. We went ahead and we wrapped soup to nuts, just the regular way we always do it. I added glue almost the whole way, definitely in the beginning and definitely at the end. But when it got to be towards the end, I felt like I had to wrap it glue every row, which was a little bit of a pain in the tuchus, don't get me wrong. But, you know, this is what we have to do DIYs in the world, you know. We have to use lots of glue. Okay, so this is a put on a movie kind of a process. It's easy, don't get me wrong. It's a very simple process, but it is a little bit of a time-consuming process. And it's a very inexpensive DIY too. That's the thing. I've been finding lately that they're either really expensive, really easy, or really fast, but very few are all three. I don't know why. I don't know why that is. That's just the way I've been noticing it. Okay. So now I'm done with the first one. For the second one, I'm actually going to take this jute that I had left over. So I had a couple of banners that I kind of Frankensteined, where I had bought like banners that came with jute, and I didn't end up using the jute, so I just store it in my little jute bag. So this jute is actually like a little bit thicker, and I actually really liked the feel of it. It made wrapping so much easier. So you see on this one, we're going to start at the end, go towards the center. Then we'll start at the other end, go towards the center. And I'm actually not going to have enough of the really thick jute. But I hate to waste stuff, you know. So then when I just filled in with the regular sides in the middle. And you really can't tell very much. The problem is with jute is, if you guys have worked with it before, you know that sometimes it's tight. It's wound really tight, and sometimes it's really thick, just on the regular like Dollar Tree jute. So what you can end up doing is when I started from the bottom up, it ended up going like a little crooked. And I started going from the top down, and it was a little crooked, but they were both really crooked in the opposite ends. Basically, two sides were almost touching and two sides were really far apart. So I just went ahead and I filled in the best I could, and I overlapped a couple of rows in the back just so I could fill in the front, and it really was not objectional to me. I ended up I knew I was going to put something around the middle of these anyway, so I knew it was not going to be a problem. But that's what I just ended up doing, filling in with a regular amount of jute in the middle. And it's, of course, when I started to fill it in, it was the skinny part that was actually going in the big space again. So I had to fix that. But like I said, it was overlapped in the back, and that to me was not a huge deal because I was going to wrap stuff around the middle of these eggs anyway. In fact, one of them I actually just put flowers in the front, but these are just options. All of the decorating tips and all of the series are going to be just optional. You obviously can mix and match them how you see fit. Okay? Now for this one, I did the 100% opposite of the best way to do it. I actually started in the middle on the seam. These are hinged eggs. Sometimes you get eggs in two parts. Sometimes they're hinged. These ones are hinged. So you can kind of see where the middle line was, and that's where I started. I started from the middle line and I went towards the tapered end, which again I told you was actually harder, but I had to do this for you guys for you to see which one would work best for you. So I'm showing you all three of them here. And then when I was done, I matched back up in the middle and I went towards the tapered end, which is the top end point. But you definitely have to probably use something to push the rows down into the glue. People have used things called hot hands or hot fingers, which are like these little rubber silicone fingertip things. People have taught me that the Betty Crocker double-ended rubber spatula from the Dollar Tree is actually really good. I sometimes use my scissors. Some people use the stems left over from Dollar Tree florals. You pull all the blossoms off and we have all the stems left over. So whatever you feel that you have on hand that you could use to not hurt yourself, basically you want to do that. But I like to actually just give the glue a second to cool off a little bit before I can handle it. This is 4 times speed, so if it looks like I dug right into the glue, you can imagine that I was waiting 4 times that amount of time to actually get in there. Okay, and then when I'm going to show you the more in-depth tutorials of how we did the finishing touches. So me showing you the 3 techniques to wrap the eggs is kind of going to go a lot faster than the trimming techniques, okay? So if you could tell here, I just am using like a craft stick. It's sort of the big tongue depressor size. And that's what I decided to use today. But to be honest, I also have, I feel like my fingertips are starting to be made out of asbestos from touching all the hot glue. It's a family tradition. My grandfather used to flip pieces of fried fish in the hot oil at the restaurant with his fingers. So my dad, I always thought my dad had asbestos fingers, and then he was like, oh, you don't know nothing, my dad, so. And if you're a newly found cousin, hi, talking about my pup. All right, so now when it comes to decorating, the first one we're going to do is we're going to take the piece of the lace ribbon from Dollar Tree, and we're just going to put it in the middle. Now here's two tips or techniques or trips, whatever. And you can either glue the whole piece of ribbon or just glue the ends, and you can overlap the ends and put them in the back, or you can overlap the ends and cover them with any kind of embellishment. I never mentioned the embellishments in the list of supplies needed, because basically use what you have. It's the best. Found materials are always the best. And I just have these really cute, it's got like French writing, this button. I got them from Hobby Lobby on 50% clearance, 50% sale one day. And I really like this one. It sort of has like French writing, which reminds me of my French farmhouse. So I ended up gluing this in the front with the seam in the back. But this next technique, I'm kind of like really kicking it old school. I was going to say that I was proud to show it to you, but really, it's really an old school method. I've taken one strand of jute, one strand of cotton twine, and I folded it in 6 halves, 6 pieces, 6 lengths. And I'm tying off the raw end. There's 1 loop and 2 raw ends at one end, and there's 3 loops on the other end. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a faux infinity knot braid, sailor knot braid, depending on who you're talking to and what region of the country they live in. This will have a different name. But basically what it is it's a 2-strand per strand braid that where the strands lay flat next to each other. And I'm actually doing it, this is real time that you're watching me do it, so that you can see how I am very carefully making sure all of the 2 strings from each strand of the braid stay laying flat and parallel to each other. Okay? So this is also, if you have never braided anything before, this is also a great way for you to learn how. What I've done is I've tucked the top knot underneath something heavy. You can tape it down. When we do macrame, we always tape it down or, put it under something heavy. And then you're going to do is you're going to create basically a tripod. What you're going to do is you're going to start maybe on the left side, and you're going to take, or let me wait till I get to the left side. You're going to take the left leg of the tripod and you're going to put it between the other 2. And then you're going to take the right leg of the tripod and put it between the other 2. And this is braiding, and this is as fast as it's going to go when you're doing this kind of careful braid. Let me zoom in real quick so you guys can see the braid in detail. So you can see how the 2 strands on each side are laying flat next to each other. So each strand is made up of 2 strands. I know, I wish I could. Each strand is made up of 2 strings that are laying flat next to each other. And then I'm making sure that they stay that way without getting twisted the entire braid. Now, what I did to determine how long that I wanted this to be, I went ahead and I took a piece of the cotton twine and I wrapped it around the egg 6 times. Even though I think that was extra. Yeah, 6 times. I wrapped it around 6 times and then made and then added about 6 inches, just because when you braid it, it makes it a little smaller and tighter. And then I went ahead and I folded that piece in 6s, and that's where I got this from. But you definitely want to braid the loop ends. It makes it so much easier, and you don't have to worry about your strings getting tangled as much, okay? And then to finish it off, I just went all the way down to the end, and to finish it off, I just added a little touch of hot glue. Now, normally we would add this, tie this back into a knot if you were making a bracelet or something, or whatever you were going to do with it. But since we're going to glue it on an egg, I just went ahead and I added a little hot glue to overlap all the little strings and just kept it that way so that we can go ahead and add it to our egg, okay? So while I finish up, I will tell you that I don't want to say something silly like I've forgotten more macrame than some people will ever know. But my father, being a fisherman, he had lots of boats on knots. And not only was he a fisherman, he was an Eagle Scout. So he really loved to make knots. And we actually did. We had this whole time period, and it was sort of in my teens and 20s where we were just like drummer boy braids and fancy Celtic knots, and we just were making like these like crazy. It was about the time I feel like where friendship bracelets kind of like were coming into fashion the first time, where we're using all the embroidery floss. But then he had some really great string that he had gotten, net making string from a friend that was like leftover, and we just made a ton of stuff with this. I wish to this day that I had some of the stuff that we used to work on together like that. Okay, so if you guys are interested in any other macrame stuff, I guess we could kind of do video. I'd love to know. You guys let me know down below if you want to know any different macrame type techniques. Like I said, we did them mostly for bracelets, but macrame could be like plant hangers or decorative rope, anything that you really want to do, basically. So now that we're done, I found the back, and again, I'm going to glue this seam in the back. And I kind of glued the 3 ends of the loop flat, and I knew that I was going to put the cut end over it. And again, I wanted this just to go right around the middle. And I didn't add any embellishments to this, so I wanted to make sure that the knot was in the back, because I just wanted the braid to really be the shine, the focus of this egg. I really just wanted the braid technique to really be the focus of this egg. Okay? And then once I got it back around to the back, I went ahead and I put a little glue down, held the knot down, cut it, and then glued the rest of the strings, like the ends of the strings. I tried to make them look like they blended back into where he started. All right? And that's it. So here we go. I can just sort of take the ends and a little glue, and I use the actual, the glue nozzle. I'll use that a lot of times to help me flatten stuff out. And here's how it looks. Well, it's a little fuzzy. Sorry about that. But then let's get on to the last one, and the last one is going to be the easiest. I had 3 of these. These were actually called baby's breath when they first came out, and they're my last little bunch that I have left over from all of the years of doing DIYs. No, I'm just kidding. These were just a couple of years old from the Dollar Tree. When they first came out with baby's breath, that's what they looked like. So I'm just going to take 3 of them because I like to decorate in triangle 3s, and I'm going to glue 3 little blossoms right in the middle of the good side of the egg, and that's it. Of course, I could do jute cord, jute bows. I could put burlap on here. You really, guys, you'll see in the next DIYs coming up, we have lots of different ways that you can decorate them. These are just the 3 that I wanted to share with you with the jute eggs. And that's it. I've created this little bird's nest, well, you'll see in the final video. If you have any questions at all, do me a favor, leave them in the comments down below. Please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know if you're looking forward to the rest of the series. And if you haven't yet, click subscribe. When you do, a little bell will pop up. When you ring that bell, YouTube will let you know whenever I upload a new video. And don't forget to share this video with friends and family, anybody you know might be interested in seeing any of the techniques that we did today. And as always, take care, God bless, and we'll see you next time. Bye!